Hello everybody, we are back today with a new project which we have developed, and this is regarding chemistry as well. As I don't like chemistry that much, but yeah, this is a project in which we have integrated both chemistry and the knowledge of DBMS and Python programming as well. So it's a quite an innovative one and also simple and innovative one to be more fair. Okay, so let's see what we have developed. So as you can see, this by the looks of it, it's a very complex code, but I give you a promise that it isn't. It's actually very simple, and I will explain you what I have done here. So basically, before everything, we have developed a Python code which will calculate the mass of a compound given, and finally deliver us the total molecular mass of it. And let's see how it works first. Then it will be more clear for you to understand. I will first show the working, and then I will explain you the different parts which is responsible for that particular working. Okay, so I'm running the code here. Yes. Okay, see, we have got three options here. First is to enter one to add elements, the two to check the mass of a compound. I want to check the mass of a compound right now, so I give 2. Now I see that entered the compound. Now it's very simple here. We just go and say, for example, I want to give magnesium sulfate. Okay, so I give MgSO4. See, so we have seen that the given formula is MgSO4, and in the tabular format it gives that compound given in MgSO4 and the molar mass calculated is 120.361, and this unit is in AMU. Okay, atomic mass unit. So how is this working? Okay, let me explain it first. As I will just start from the first line itself. So as you can see that we have imported a module as import mysql.connector as SQL. If you have not learned SQL till now, then I would suggest you to go and learn some bit about SQL so that you can understand the topics which I'm explaining here. As a bit of Python programming basics and a bit of SQL basics and connection with Python is necessary to understand this project. Okay, so assuming that you have done this, let me explain. So as you know, this is the mysql.connector module which will connect our SQL, connect our Python terminal with the SQL backend. Okay, so we have got an SQL database. So let me show you the database in SQL right now. So this is my MySQL 8.0 command line client. Now I will be opening the I see what the database which I have right now. So show databases. Okay, so as you can see that I have got a database here, atomic mass. So I use that. So use atomic mass. We have stored our everything inside there only. Okay, so we see the tables in here. Show tables and select star from mass. We do. Okay, so as you can see that I have registered about 40 elements here. It's from atomic number 1 to 40, and it's according to the periodic table as well. And I have stored the serial number, element, so it's hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, and so on. And I have stored the symbols which are under IUPAC rules, and their exact symbols, the capital letters and which also the small letters, I have also saved it. And its atomic mass is saved to maximum of 4th digit, and sometimes it's smaller as well to 2 digits as well. And its atomic number has been also already stored with it. So till 40 the thing is there, and with that option 1 in the code here, in the option 1 in the code, you can add some more elements as well, but still will be for our simplicity of understanding the code and not being delving into more complex areas of chemistry, I will be keeping it to atomic number 40 only. Okay, so here we have just basically defined the database. Is host is local host, user is root, and the password is 1234, and database is atomic mass, which I have just opened right now. So this line basically defines the cursor element. So this cursor element will work as a middleman between my Python code and my SQL. I will give the cursor instructions in the SQL form from the Python terminal, and it will execute it in the SQL one. So first we have basically given a module. This is the insert element module, and it basically asks the user that how many elements you want to enter. Then it runs the loop for that number of times, and it asks the user to enter the name of the element and the symbol of the element, while the mass and the serial number, atomic mass, atomic number basically is determined automatically. And then we are just passing these values with it, and we are executing it with our cursor. Once it is done, we are printing edit to it. So this is basically simple. The main part of it is comes into the this calculate module. So this calculate module is basically responsible for our calculation of the atomic mass. First, here we have imported tabulate module. As you can see, tabulate module is basically responsible for this tabular format of printing of data. This tabulate module does this magic here. Now, as you can see that it's a complex code which I have written. You might find it very complex, but this logic I will explain you very easily. Okay, so please pay attention so that you can understand it. So to make you understand this, let me open a notepad file right first. So let me open a notepad file. Okay, so as you can see, this is a notepad file. I already have the code here. Move it. Okay, so first we gave the code as we'll give the compound as MgSO4. Okay. Now first let me mention that we need to follow the normal procedure of writing a compound. Okay, we must mention MgSO4 like it's allowed in chemistry. Now if we write like this thing, that MgSO4, then it doesn't work. Then it doesn't work. But if you do it like this, MgSO4, it will work very nicely because you actually follow the rules of the numbering and also follow the letters. Rules of the letters means small or capital. Okay. So first here we will also always consider the whole thing as a string first. Okay. Let me consider it as a string. Now how I do the logic. Okay. Now we are just first iterating into this string. Now say for example this is the first letter. Okay. So the compiler has got the first letter. Now it just checks that if the next element is a small letter. If the next element is a small letter, then it is evident that it is part of that thing. It is part of that element. Say for example, if I had Mn here, Mn means manganese. So if the compiler checks, it's okay, it's a small element, so okay, so add it up to this one. Now, as I took G, I will give the example with G only here. So it adds up this element. And say for example, if something like KSO4 comes. So once it checks that, yeah, the next element is a capital letter. Okay, so if the next element is a capital letter, then it will only search for this one. Okay, let me consider this as this one and this one so that you understand it very nicely. So it's KSO4 and this one is Mg. Now we stored this K or this Mg in a temporary variable. Now we use this temporary variable to search in our database. So this is the database, as you can see. Now we are searching in our database like this. Yeah. In this try block, we are saying select atomic mass from mass where the symbol is equals to mod s, and this symbol is mod s is actually our variable here. This temporary variable. You're passing this thing, this mg or this k in here. This one. Now say for example, the user has given something like G, like this thing. Okay, so this is actually a problem for everybody because this is actually technically wrong. So what our program does in this case? Say for example, it has seen that, okay, so the code sees that, okay, so I've got an M, the next is a capital letter. So it doesn't include it in the temporary variable first. Now it goes to the terminal and searches. Now as you can see that no element in our database right now has the symbol M. just temp. So it basically goes to this except block and says that print invalid input and please try again. So this basically makes our program more user friendly, as it advises the user to give a legitimate input rather than showing a complete horrendous type of error there. Okay, so back to where I was. Now say for example this is mg, and then it fetches the atomic mass of it. So let's see what is the atomic mass of mg here. It's basically 24.305. So I update it here as 24.305. Okay, so now it checks that whether the next letter is a number or not. Next character is a number or not. If the next character is a number, then this mass, which is now stored in a temporary integer variable or a float variable, is then multiplied with that number. And if there is no number and if there is a letter, then it is multiplied by 1 and stored into the final result value. After this, I am emptying the temporary variable which stored the previously content mg. Like this. Yeah. Now I am repeating the same step. Now the temporary variable is sulfur, S. It checks the next letter and sees that it's O and it's capital. So it straight goes to the database and searches for S. And lo and behold, and this is sulfur, which is S. And so it fetches the atomic mass and it's 32.06. So final result is then updated by final result is equals to 24.305 plus what have you seen, it's 32.06. Okay, and it is updated to 32.06. After this, the temporary variable is again emptied. Okay, so I'm emptying the temporary variable repeatedly here, and actually this is the line which does that. Yeah. Once it checks that it is there, okay, so change the next variable and increment it by 1 here. And this is basically checking that where the first capital letter is added, and if the next one is lower, then it adds it, and if the next one is upper, then it terminates the entire loop, and then it goes and checks this one. Okay, so back to where I was explaining here. So here the temporary variable now becomes the next letter, which is O. Sorry, I basically forgot to explain that. Now it next checks that whether there is any number or not. So as it finds that there is no number, so this 32.06 is multiplied with 1 and it remains 32.06. So final result value is currently standing at now 24.305 plus 32.06, and it's 56.365 currently standing right now. Okay, now the temporary variable sees the next value and it sees that it's oxygen, O, capital O, and it checks that whether the next letter is a small letter or not, and it sees that it's not a small letter and it's neither a capital letter. So it searches for O in the database and it's oxygen, as we all know, and it's 15.999. Okay. Now it checks that what is the next thing here, and it sees that it's a number. So when it calculates in the final result, it does this thing, exactly this thing, 56.365, which is basically the sum of this one I have obtained, plus 15.999 into 4, because there are 4 molecules of oxygen here. And now it will store the final result as this, like this. So my answer comes as 120.361. And let's see our output, 120.361. So this is how the whole thing is working. Okay. I hope you have understood this logic here. Okay, let's see if anything else. And we have also given a catch it option 3 to exit the software using the import sys module here. Okay, thank you for understanding our project. Hope it is clear, and also the concept of the atomic mass is also cleared. If you have any doubts, please deep dive into our comment section and leave a comment. And if you have liked our project, please share our channel and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Thank you so much.